Now at 9, a $7 million decision tonight. Joplin City Council votes on Memorial Hall's future and lays the groundwork for a potential hotel tax increase.
With another city council meeting looming, Joplin residents petition against the idea of a data center. I'm Kenny Foreman, and I'll have more on that coming up.
And a solar company is offering neighbors payments to move in, but some Crawford County residents say they want trust over money.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin City Council votes tonight on the future of the historic Memorial Hall. This is KOAM News. I'm Tanya Bach. This century-old building could get a $17 million renovation through a public-private partnership. The Friends of Memorial Hall Group wants $7 million in city bonds funded by increasing the lodging tax from 4% to 6%. Now that tax would only be paid by overnight visitors at Joplin hotels, not by residents. Tonight's vote, which is still yet to happen, would approve the framework for the deal, but voters would still need to approve the tax increase in a future election.
We thought it was a very viable opportunity because it will not directly affect the citizens of Joplin. It's not a sales tax on us. It's not a property tax or a personal property tax. It's actually going to be a tax on those people that come through Joplin and visit and stay in our hotels and motels.
Tonight's decision will be one step closer to saving the Veterans Memorial from demolition and creating a community hub for downtown Joplin. The renovations would restore the building's 2,200 seat capacity and create a space for weddings, concerts, community events, and a new home for the American Legion. Opposition over proposed data center grows in Joplin. Later this month, the Joplin City Council will once again discuss the proposed Wildwood Ranch annexation, land that's earmarked to build a data center. KOAM's Kenny Foreman finds out what concerned Joplin residents are doing to ensure their voices are heard.
After the voting did not go in her favor at the January 20th meeting, Rebecca Collins, president of the Joplin Sustainable Technology Alliance, felt determined to give the council more to think about the next time around.
They cannot tell an individual citizen what to do with their property, but that's where the citizens of Joplin can step in, and we can use our voice to say, hey, we know that there's a proposed data site going in this property, and we are not okay with that. So if the city isn't going to step up and call for their own moratorium, then we will.
She helped initiate a petition calling for a moratorium and environmental study to be put in place before the city can go forward with plans for a proposed data center. In just a few short days, many Joplin residents signed it, letting the city know how they feel about the property.
If we can gather, a couple hundred people to show up at a city council meeting, that's nothing compared to allowing the entirety of the community to know exactly what they're voting for, exactly what they would get out of this project. So I think the biggest thing is allowing the community to have their voice heard in as many ways as possible.
And in the event that the voting doesn't go in their favor, the petitioners don't anticipate accepting defeat right away.
If the council does go ahead and annex the property at the city council meeting, then we will go ahead and push for a referendum, which would ask to overturn the council's decision on that and put it on the ballot so the citizens of Joplin can vote.
In any event, Collins is confident that her community will back each other up when it matters most.
The community has really stepped up. So this has been a grassroots movement where community members have been texting each other, posting in the Facebook page, really just getting the word out, putting boots on the ground. So it's been really inspiring to see.
In Joplin, Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
The February 17th council vote will be held at MSSU in order to accommodate more people following higher than usual attendance at last month's meeting. Meteorologist Austin Stantz joins us now with a first look at weather.
Yeah, thanks, Tanya. Today was Groundhog Day, so Punxsutawney Phil was giving us his forecast, and unfortunately, he saw his shadow, which meant 6 more weeks of winter, but it sure didn't feel like that today. Temperatures 55 degrees, hit the mid-50s at 3:53 this afternoon. That was almost 10 degrees above average. Our winds currently are still out of the south right now, and temperatures are still anywhere from about 5 to almost 15 degrees above average from this, or above where they were just 24 hours ago. Now tonight, temperatures are going to be around 33 degrees this evening as you're planning your night, but Coming up, we're going to talk about the passing cold front that's going to change our winds from the south to the north. And then we're also going to have the potential for maybe a few spotty showers. But no need to worry. The warm air looks to return, and I have all the details in my full forecast.
All right, thanks, Austin. Southeast Kansas residents say they want transparency, not buyouts from a proposed solar farm project in Crawford County. The debate over Shasta Power's proposed solar project in Crawford County continues as the company rolls out a revised proposal. County leaders say questions remain about how those changes are being communicated to residents.
Kind of a strong arm approach where they're saying if you don't do it, you know, you're going to not get compensated, and that there may be the threat of eminent domain and some things thrown out there. Now the message is different from different constituents. It's not all the same, but there was a few that felt like they were being strong-armed into the proposition. That's really not what we approved.
Well, coming up in our next half hour, we'll hear from one of the landowners along with a concerned Crawford County resident. Well, a head-on crash claims the life of a Pittsburgh teacher. The crash happened back on January 17th, just west of Pittsburgh. Troopers say a pickup was passing multiple vehicles at a high rate of speed when the collision happened. The driver of the truck, Craig Sylvie of Cherokee, died at the scene. The passenger of the car, Heather Burgess of Girard, suffered serious injuries. She was taken to an area hospital where she later died from those injuries. The body of a missing Lake of the Ozarks woman is discovered in a crash. Crews responded to that crash on US 54 in Miller County earlier today. 35-year-old Amanda Rogers was located dead at the scene. Authorities reported Rogers missing on January 26th after she failed to pick up her children in the Camdenton area. While the investigation is ongoing, no foul play or suspicious circumstances are suspected. Well, coming up, peace talks resume.
As Russia's war on Ukraine continues, diplomats are hoping a new round of talks will turn the page. I'm Greg Belcott in London. That's my story. Coming up.
But up first, February marks Pet Dental Health Month, and veterinarians warn plaque buildup could threaten your pet's quality of life. Missouri Southern State University doubles its nursing program capacity this spring. Previously, the university accepted just 30 nursing students each fall. Now the program welcomes an additional 20 students every spring semester. The change creates 4 active student groups and allows up to 100 students to progress through the Bachelor of Science in Nursing program simultaneously. Mercy Hospital Joplin is funding the expansion to address the 4-state region's critical shortage of qualified nurses.
Role is a supportive role, so we do have graduates that eventually will be employed by Mercy. So Mercy knows that we produce good quality graduates, actually exceptional graduates in our opinion, and that will only benefit their health care system in the near term and in the future.
The expansion comes as Missouri Southern prepares to launch a Master of Science in Nursing program next fall. The university's nursing graduates have achieved a 100% pass rate on their licensing exam for 3 straight years. While puppy love and cuddles from kittens can be sweet, veterinarians say their mouths could be brimming with bacteria leading to plaque buildup. February marking National Pet Dental Health Month, animal experts are sharing tips for better oral health. Fox News' Ted Linder takes a closer look.
While brushing our teeth is a daily habit to help maintain good health, veterinary experts say it's critical pet owners don't slack when it comes to keeping the mouths of their furry friends clean.
If you can brush, that's ideal to scrape that plaque and calculus off of the teeth every day.
And with February marking National Pet Dental Health Month, Dr. Leah Taylor of Texas A&M University identifies signs a dog or cat is ready to have their teeth cleaned to avoid oral decay and disease, which can impact their quality of life.
Things like really red gums. A lot of times you'll smell bad breath and you can visually see brown material building up on the teeth.
Brushing frequently at home is recommended.
You would use a toothpaste that's made especially for cats and dogs because they're going to eat the toothpaste. You don't need to get a special toothbrush. You can get kind of a child-sized, soft bristle toothbrush anywhere and use that to brush their teeth.
Dr. Taylor says it's a good idea to start a brushing routine when a pet is young. But to avoid a struggle, no matter their age, take a slow approach.
Introduce first maybe just the toothbrush with a little bit of the toothpaste on it and just lick that off, and kind of keep moving forward to try to actually get it to touch the teeth at some point.
Still, it's important to have a vet check a pet's teeth annually to scan for any potential problems before they become worse.
Broken teeth, cysts, unerupted teeth, all kinds of different things that also need to be addressed.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Austin is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later how a car wash can wash away more than just winter grime.
Here's your Skywatch weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
Well, we're getting a look at your Skywatch storm tracker, and there are some minor changes happening this evening that will take place tonight and also into tomorrow. Take notice that we do have this cold front off to our north, some high pressure there. This can continue to push south. That'll eventually reach us in our overnight hours. But for right now, we still have this warm front that's just off to our north. A bit of a low pressure system here that's just pulling in just enough moisture to initiate just a small line of showers here. So a few isolated scattered showers can't be completely ruled out tonight, especially with the widespread cloud cover that we will be seeing tonight. That will eventually become more overcast. You notice that it's kind of thickening up right now, especially in the western portions of our region right now. So eventually things are going to become more overcast tonight, but that's great news for us though, because temperatures are going to be fairly mild overnight because of that. Look at this, as we head into midnight, temperatures still in the 40s there, only going to be falling into the 30s as we approach 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning there, and then we start to see cloud cover start to break up just a little bit there. Mostly cloudy overnight tonight. That's actually above normal for us. We're going to see some light winds once that front passes. It's just going to be about 5-10 miles per hour, but it's not going to be too cold tomorrow. We're going to get a decent start in the 30s. 35 degrees by 7, 38 by 8 o'clock. Bagel's always a good option if you're in a hurry in the morning. Taking a look by our lunch hour, we're in the 40s. We're kind of going to stall out there. Low 40s, maybe mid 40s there, especially if we get some broken cloud cover like we're seeing here that could heat us up just a little bit more there. But you'll notice that cloud cover begins to build back into the area during the afternoon hours into the evening on Tuesday night. Temperature's going to get a little bit cooler Tuesday night, still about average. So we're above average tonight, going to be right about average tomorrow night. So right around 26 degrees there. Heading into Wednesday, just slightly cooler. We're going to be right around that 40-degree mark, mostly cloudy Wednesday. We're also going to see some light breeze, a light breeze throughout Tuesday into Wednesday. Could see a gust, maybe 15, 18 miles per hour, likely going to remain under 20. The great news is, take a look at this monster ridge here. We're going to see all that warm air build into that ridge, and it starts to push east. We're going to see all that mild air begin to move in to our area as well. The next chance for some rainfall, at least meaningful rainfall, going to be out a little further. I need to get some talking points down here. So we're going to see our next chance for rainfall begin to build in here Sunday night into Monday, and then a second system that we're watching as we head into the second week there, a little bit more widespread that you see there. Taking a look at your 10-day forecast, check this out, 60s as we head into next week. We'll also be dealing with some rainfall there, but I'll take rain in 60s any day of the week. Also, I can't speak today, Tanya, so you might have to speak for both of us.
Well, I can speak for both of us in saying that this is an amazing forecast for this week. We will take it.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Austin. Well, after the late January snowstorm, we're now finally seeing some warmer temperatures melt away the snow off the roads, and that's also driving people to the car wash. As Nick Kelly reports, it's not just for looks.
Brian Keller lives in Springfield and likes to keep his prized Chevrolet Avalanche in good running order. He couldn't resist the urge for a bath once the car wash got warm enough to open up again.
It wasn't brand new, and but it looks brand new. I try to just keep it that way.
With his driving experience in many cars, he knows that cleaning your car after a snowstorm like we saw last month isn't just for looks.
That salt is very hard on anything metal. Everything gets deteriorated with all the salt that's on the ground.
Local auto shop owner Tim Fest couldn't agree more. On top of potential corrosion damage to parts of the body if not taken care of, snow and salt can corrode or damage parts of the vehicle's structure and other components that keep the car running properly and safely.
There's a number of electrical connections made throughout the vehicle, some of which are made in the undercarriage of the vehicle. Things like your fuel pump, for instance, oxygen sensors, which are located in the exhaust, but also things like wheel speed sensors for your anti-lock brake and traction control, or even part of your ADAS system, your adaptive cruise control, your lane departure.
Fest says the best thing to eliminate snow and salt from underneath is to keep it simple. Head to a self-serve, automatic, or tunnel car wash where the tools are in place to give your undercarriage a good rinse or flush.
Fresh water is your best bet. Of course, they do offer, special detergents at your local car washes that help remove some of that salt that's caked on or built up in such a way. But water typically dissolves that salt so it can be rinsed away effectively.
And repeated washings may be necessary. That means Brian is already planning ahead until the roads can properly clear out.
We'll probably be here a couple times in the next week or so just because of the roads.
Well, temperatures are set to stay warm enough, certainly later this week, to keep your car washes running nonstop as we continue to clean up from our last round of wintry weather. Well, coming up next, don't bet on it. What you need to know about protecting yourself from scams while betting on sports. With the Olympics and Super Bowl right around the corner, scammers are ready to take advantage of sports bettors. Chris Bryant has things to keep in mind so you don't become a victim when placing a wager.
It's an exciting time. We love the Super Bowl, and so it's easy to get carried away. So just make sure that you're engaging properly, that when you do go ahead and choose a good platform and you've done your research.
The American Gaming Association says Americans are expected to wager nearly $1.76 billion on the Super Bowl this weekend.
Unsolicited links are always something to be suspicious of. That's a red flag. If you did not initiate the sports bettor, the wager, then it's best to leave that alone.
From the money line, point spread, total points, prop bets, and even parlays, the options when it comes to placing a wager this weekend seem endless. However, scammers will attempt to use fraudulent websites, promotions, social media, and even offshore sites to try to steal your money.
So they're counting on you to let your guard down and maybe click on a suspicious link or just engage with some sort of unknown platform that they really shouldn't. And so that's why it's really important that, number one, you make sure that it's legal to place a bet in your state, wherever you are, and also best to deal with sports books that are whitelisted, as the term is, meaning that they are approved by the local gaming commission.
And also be sure to read the fine print so you know what to expect if you win or lose.
Well, if you need help with a gambling addiction, you can call 1-800-MY-RESET or 1-888-BETS-OFF. ESPN finalizes its deal to acquire the NFL Network, NFL Fantasy, and the rights to Red Zone. The NFL gets a 10% stake in ESPN as part of the deal. In a statement, the two companies said NFL employees will begin integrating into ESPN in the months ahead, though ESPN says viewers are not expected to notice changes until the spring. Well, coming up next, one small Missouri town gets some big recognition. One small Missouri town gets some big recognition. Neosho is named one of the winners of the Small Town Showcase, Show Me 250. The showcase, hosted by the nonprofit Missouri Humanities, features small Missouri communities that have a lot of history and personality to offer, but may get overlooked by their bigger neighbors. Neosho and 4 other communities will be featured on the Small Town Showcase podcast, as well as a short film about each town. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way.
Will House lawmakers reach a deal quickly, or are we in for another prolonged government shutdown? I'm Rebecca Castor with the latest on the negotiations over ICE and DHS funding.
And diplomacy continues in an effort to end the war in Ukraine despite a recent escalation in Russian attacks.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Are we in for another prolonged government shutdown fight on Capitol Hill, or will lawmakers reach a deal quicker this time around. As Fox's Rebecca Castor reports, it all comes down to immigration and funding the Department of Homeland Security.
We don't get it? Shut it down! We don't get it? Shut it down!
Democrats are taking that message to heart after weeks of anti-ICE protests in Minneapolis and other cities. They're demanding changes to how ICE operates and are willing to keep the government closed to try to bring Republicans to the table.
I just don't see how in good conscience Democrats can vote for continuing ICE funding when they're killing American citizens.
We're not going to allow Democrats to hamstring ICE. We're going to take our country back.
Last week, Senate Democrats in the White House reached a deal to fund most agencies through September, but only fund the Department of Homeland Security for 2 weeks, giving lawmakers time to discuss reforms. But that plan still needs to pass the House, and Democrats there aren't fully on board.
We need a robust path toward dramatic reform. The administration can't just talk the talk, they need to walk the walk. That should begin today, not in 2 weeks.
Republicans are open to some of the Democrats' demands, like having ICE agents wear body cameras, but most draw the line at prohibiting masks.
When you have people doxing them and targeting them, of course we don't want their personal identification out there on the streets. And so we've got to work through this in a meaningful way, in a thoughtful way that comports with common sense.
The House is expected to vote on the revised funding deal Tuesday, but if all Democrats and more than one Republican vote no, the government will remain shut down. On Capitol Hill, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
A hydrogen leak disrupts NASA's Artemis II moon rocket test, throwing a wrench into plans for a possible weekend launch. 4 astronauts are waiting to fly around the moon, but engineers detected the leak during a critical fueling rehearsal today. The team has 3 days left in February to get the mission off the ground, February 8th, 10th, and 11th. If those dates are missed, the Artemis II flight slips to early March. Well, there's no end in sight to the fighting in Ukraine, but diplomats are meeting this week looking for solutions. Russian attacks are escalating with more civilians killed and thousands without power as temperatures plunge. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has more.
Russian airstrikes pounding civilian targets in Ukraine once again as the peace talks accelerate. Moscow had promised to stop attacking the capital Kyiv and energy infrastructure throughout the country, but it appears that promise has now been broken. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is pushing for the U.S. to focus on that issue in the next round of talks.
De-escalation measures, reducing strikes, a lot of it depends on what the American side will succeed in.
In the meantime, thousands of civilians remain in the dark as the Russian strikes intensify.
We haven't had heating for almost 3 weeks now. Sometimes we hear that they're starting the system, but the radiators don't even get warm.
President Trump says this new round of talks will focus on what he calls the full peace package. He says negotiators are close to getting a deal done, but leaders from both countries are holding up the process.
Zelensky and Putin hate each other, and it makes it very difficult. But I think we're getting very close to getting a settlement.
But other administration officials paint a different picture, claiming the major holdup is Russia's insistence on remaining in areas of Ukraine it already occupies, which the Ukrainians have rejected.
It deals with territories, and those by their nature and where you draw those lines and how it's administered and how the ceasefire is administered. These are complicated matters.
The new round of talks between the U.S., Ukraine, and Russia are scheduled for this Wednesday and Thursday. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Austin is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the solar debate continues.
A solar project proposal includes direct payments to nearby homeowners, but not everyone's on board. I'm Blake Gully, and I'll have that story coming up.
Here's your Skywatch weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
Well, it is going to be a fairly mild evening out there tonight, 33 degrees. That's actually above normal for this time of year. Wind's going to be fairly mild tonight, right around 5 to 10 miles per hour, but we are going to have a cold front that passes through that changes our winds from the southwest to the northwest. So things are going to be a little bit cooler, as we head into tomorrow morning. We're going to start out in the 30s, nearing 40 degrees by 8 o'clock there. Now, as we start approaching your lunch hour, we can expect temperatures near 41 degrees there at Joplin. Notice those winds are now out of the north. Some scattered cloud cover across the area. Some areas going to remain more cloudy than others throughout the day. We will see some broken areas. So if you get a little bit more sunshine, you may get into the mid to upper 40s if you're lucky, but most of us going to stay in the low to mid 40s for your Tuesday. Heading into Tuesday night, some more cloud cover begins to move in. We're also going to see some cooler temperatures, and while it is cooler, it's actually normal for this time of year. We're going to be right around 26 degrees by Wednesday at 6 a.m. here, and then we're only warming up to around 40, so just slightly below average. And we also cannot rule out a brief sprinkle or two. We're going to have this cloud cover here in the afternoon. There's going to be some moisture in the area, and with it being colder air condenses. It needs less amount of moisture to develop some precipitation. Basically, what's happening there is we're seeing water droplets rise, water vapor rise into the atmosphere. It cools rapidly, creating ice crystals and water droplets, and as they collide together, they get larger, and then they will actually, once it gets too heavy and can't be suspended anymore, that's when it'll fall. It might just be a light drizzle out there, but can't rule it out across the region. So if you run into a drizzle, it should be short-lived out there. Now, we are going to see temperatures heading into Wednesday night, dropping back into the 30s there, so it's going to start to get a little bit cooler, but the warmer air does look to return as we head into Thursday. Some breezy conditions from Tuesday into Wednesday, just around 10-15 miles per hour. Could see the isolated gust near 20. But check this out. Here's Thursday. Look at this monster ridge here. All the warm air is going to be flowing into that ridge. Well, that ridge starts to push east here, and that is going to give us some warmer air here in the 4 states. So that is some great news. We also have some rainfall on the way, but it's still a little bit longer downrange for us. So here we are Thursday. There's our ridge. We're going to start seeing that warmer air start to come in here from the Gulf of Mexico and flowing here into the 4 states area. But as we head into the weekend, check this out. We're going to start to see some showers develop here, and then a second system could bring some heavier, more widespread showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms next week. But take a look at these temperatures. After Wednesday, we're back into the 50s there. And then heading into Saturday, 54, a little bit cooler Sunday with that chance of rain lingering into Monday morning. And then that system that brings us some more widespread rain next week with 60-degree temperatures.
Oh, wow. Yes, I'll take rain without ice or snow any day.
Yeah, we should have a lot of that snow, if not all, melted away by then.
All right, sounds like it's going to be a muddy mess. All right, thanks, Austin. Well, the legendary groundhog Punxsutawney Phil has made his long-awaited weather prediction, suggesting more frigid days ahead. Now, Phil emerged from his tree stump at Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania this morning and saw his shadow. Now, according to tradition, that means we're in for another 6 weeks of winter, despite what Austin says, after what's already been a grueling cold season across much of the country.
It is my job this February, too, to look to the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. 6 more weeks of winter abound.
At least 2 other famous groundhogs, Staten Island Chuck from New York and Chuckles from Connecticut, also saw their shadows this morning, predicting 6 more weeks of winter. Still ahead, Webb City girls basketball takes on undefeated Kickapoo. Plus, Pitt State and Missouri Southern women's basketball duel for the final time this season. Ben McLeish has those stories and more up next in sports.
A new face is leading Pitt State athletics. Following an announcement from the university on Friday, Anthony Crispino is taking over as athletic director, with longtime AD Jim Johnson receiving a promotion. Crispino, a Girard native, grew up in the Crimson and Gold, attending football games at Carney Smith Stadium prior to attending PSU. With the family ingrained in guerrilla athletics, he says it's a dream come true to lead the department and showcases his passion for Pitt State. That's the whole reason I came back. And just growing up here and attending games with my dad, staying on the sideline, being able to have that experience and what this place means to me. You know, my grandpa played here, my grandpa coached here, my uncle Dennis Franchione coached here. Coach Beck actually gave me my start here, hired me in 2011. That was my first season in football. Working with the student assistant, so that's pretty special to me.
The relationship part and understanding and honoring the history and tradition, and he's without question he'll be able to do that. He'll be another Amanda David. So we'll have one on the coaching side and now one on the admin side, and it certainly just probably means just a little bit more.
It's the second chapter of the rivalry between Missouri Southern and Pitt State. MSSU, who sits at the top of the MIAA conference standings, making the trip across state lines to John Lance Arena. Lions eyeing the season sweep of the Gorillas in the jungle. MSSU leading early. Grace Frazier on the run in transition, getting to the rim and finishing through contact. Lions roaring to start this one. Later in the first, MSSU forces the turnover. Ashlyn Alloway with the steal, going coast to coast and laying it in. A 10-0 run for the Lions to open the game. Still in the first quarter, MSSU swinging it out to the corner for Nariah Clay, and she drills the triple, and the lead is up to 12 for the Lions. But the second quarter would belong to the Gorillas. Hannah Miller working on the pick and roll, fighting Casey McCumber for the easy bucket. She finished with her fourth double-double in the last 5 games. A couple possessions later, PSU working the ball inside out, connecting with Marin Adams on the wing, and the freshman's three is nothing but net, tying the game and sparking a huge run. Final seconds of the first half, Clara Swearingen fires it down court to Carolina Caraga, who fires before the buzzer, banking it in, as Pitt State gets revenge and defeats Missouri Southern at home, 72-66, the final. In Joplin, the Macaulay Catholic Classic tips off for day one of the Warriors. The hosting Warriors battling the Exeter Tigers. First quarter, Macaulay trailing. Vanessa Diaz gets it to Isabella Gilligan, who lays it in over the defender to close the gap. Warriors back on the attack, trying to go down low. The Tigers jar it loose, but right place, right time for Gilligan. She drives and scores, plus the foul as Macaulay quickly ties this one up. Now Diaz in transition after the steal. She takes it all the way, juking the defender and knocking down the shot for the lead as the Warriors cruise to the 57-44 win over Exeter. In the Central Ozark Conference, Webb City looks to dethrone undefeated Kickapoo. Early first quarter after a steal, Brecklin Sargent takes it to the basket. She'll score easily as the Cardinals strike first. Sargent driving again. She'll back off the defender and sink the fadeaway hook shot. Cardinals up 7-0. And here she is again. Sargent on the fast break, knocking it down through contact as Webb City jumps to a big lead, but Kickapoo storms back to take down the Cardinals 64-51. That's a look at sports. We're back with more after this.
After last week's Crawford County Commission meeting, questions are still swirling around a proposed solar project in Crawford County. A revised proposal from solar company Shasta is now on the table, but not everyone is convinced. KOM's Blake Gulley reports.
I'm not anti-solar, I'm not pro-solar, I'm pro-transparency.
Shasta Power says it revised its proposal in response to those transparency concerns. The company and landowners where the project will be built have been meeting directly with neighbors to explain changes to the plan.
The flag behind me is 400 feet from my property line. And then most of these homes are another 200 feet from here. So it would be approximately 600 feet from any of these homes before they would even see a privacy fence. They wouldn't see the solar panels because they're lower than the 8-foot high privacy fence.
I'm standing outside of one of the proposed solar farm sites here in Crawford County. Under Shasta Power's latest proposal, direct payments will be made to homeowners that live nearby. But for some residents, that still doesn't address their concerns.
So they're pressuring the council, they're pressuring the commission, they're pressuring the neighbors, and people don't want to be pressured. They want to be filled in.
County leaders say the debate has highlighted a bigger issue: outdated regulations.
I think at this point where we're at right now, we need to get the comprehensive plan done, because our current comprehensive plan's expired It has no language that covers wind or solar in it, or not anything updated that's detailed. And quite frankly, we need to have those kind of regulations in place before we approve any more projects.
Discussions are expected to continue. Reporting in Crawford County, Kansas, Blake Gully, KOAM News.
Shasta Power and participating landowners are expected to speak at the next Crawford County Commission meeting. Up next, a veteran Hollywood actress looks back on her career and finds out laughter really is the best medicine. Fox's new series, Best Medicine, features a fun comedic cast of characters, including Annie Potts. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin sat down with Potts to talk about the show, as well as a couple of her classic franchises.
You're starting to be happy.
Fox's Best Medicine star Annie Potts says she hasn't done a character like Aunt Sarah.
Mima was pretty close, but, you know, she goes to her hairdresser once a week, and Sarah has never been to one.
Coming up on the show, we keep getting to know each character in town.
About halfway through, what the writers learned was that they could put any combination of characters together and the scenes worked. Ghostbusters, what do you want?
Potts' beloved franchises include Ghostbusters.
Would you return, though, for more? Would you want to?
Oh, sure.
Plus, her classic Pretty in Pink returns to theaters Valentine's Day for a 40th anniversary. She reflected on fond and fashion-filled on-set memories.
The scene that Molly Ringwald and I had in my character's apartment, where she gives her old prom dress, that was a really sweet day of filming.
And let's talk pretty in punk rock style, because your character's style is iconic. Did you have a favorite, and did you get to keep any?
I didn't get to keep any of it, but we had a fantastic designer for that. The dress that I had on in the record shop was actually made of rubber, which sounds great, but it would be like encasing your entire body in a workout band and then trying to walk. I love the outfit in the nightclub with the little hat.
Just enjoy the show. Find Annie Potts on Best Medicine Tuesdays on Fox. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a wolverine at the Idaho Zoo frolicking around her snowy enclosure. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.